All right, hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Monday to you all. So we're back in the swing of things on Monday. Unfortunately, we didn't have Hut 8 or Core report their April production updates, but we will still look at the miners as far as April productions and then which ones came in like the top 5. We'll look at our grading scale as always on that. And then we're also going to take a look at some other stores that we have here. So we had bombshell news today. Griffin merges with American BTC. I did not have that on my bingo card for this year. That is definitely a big surprise there. The stock for Griffin, I mean, took off like crazy today. I think it was maybe a little bit of a pre-run up on Friday. It was up like 23, almost 30% or something like that. So somebody knew something there, and that's why the stock was going up nicely there. And we'll talk about that, obviously. Strategy obviously buys more Bitcoin here. Bitcoin was down, miners were up, which is kind of nice. We'll take a look at that. And then also, I had Hive's CEO, Aiden Kylik, reach out to me to see if I want to do an interview. He saw a video. We'll talk about it here in a second, but there's a poll running right now if you guys think I should do an interview. I typically don't do interviews with the CEOs, but I'll leave it up to you guys, right? If you guys want me to do an interview, I'll do an interview. If not, we won't. And then, like I said, we'll look at the best miners, Q&A after that. So today wasn't a bad day overall, but we got to go through this first. Now, financial advice, we're going to only do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what we got going on here with Bitcoin being down today, miners being in the green, which was kind of nice to see. So here's what we had. Bitcoin definitely had quite a huge swing. So what happened there? What was going on there? Some are saying that this was the case of, well, some certainty being brought back into the markets. What I mean by that is the U.S. and China had a pretty good meeting, I guess, in, I think it was, where was it, Switzerland? They paused the tariffs. I think China is going back down to 10% on the United States, and the United States is at, what, 30%, I think, in general on China right now. So some are saying that that alone was the reason why Bitcoin came down, and the reason for that is because Bitcoin has been recently seen as a safe haven. When things are tumultuous, uncertain, and things like that, well, maybe, maybe not. It definitely acted differently here from what the stock market has recently. It's gone up quite nicely here in the last, I would say, 2-3 weeks, even after the tariffs. So maybe there is some truth to that, but I think it's just we needed a little bit of a pullback. We saw quite a few days where we were nicely in the green, especially last week on Friday, right, or Thursday actually, we were up, 6.38%. We had a nice run up here from earlier in the week, from last week, from Monday. We had a nice run up here. We were up, how far from the bottom to the top of it here? We were up 12%. I think we just needed to cool off a little bit, bring things down a little bit, bring the RSI down a little bit as well. We saw that happening here as well, where we kind of cooled off for a couple of days, and then we continued to rally up. I think this might be the case here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the reason I think that is because even with Bitcoin being down, the miners are still in the green today, right? Historically, typically, regularly, when Bitcoin goes down, the miners do pretty poorly, and they didn't do that today. So the miners are still seen as, I think, way undervalued from where they really should be. And they're continuing on their process of maybe a correction to where they probably should be valued right now, but still way under from where they are. So that's just my thoughts on that. Obviously, Bitcoin was down, like I said, today quite a bit. We went down to a low of 100,703. We hit a high today, too, of 105,787. So we had a huge swing on it of approximately, what was that, $5,000 swing on it today. We closed at 2,800 right there. And then we're down a little bit on the new day as well. We're down 0.68, but today we were down 1.28% on it. The markets were up nicely today. We had stocks like Tesla being up nicely, Google, Apple as well, all obviously benefiting from the China consensus there, maybe, well, not consensus, but at least an agreement now that they're going to work things out. We got a pause for 90 days on the tariffs. That's going to be great for the stocks for the next couple of weeks at least. We'll see where that all ends up. I think they will work out some kind of a deal there. They have to. That was just ridiculous, but maybe that's just part of the art of the deal there with Trump and his cabinet, which if it works out that way, that's great, obviously, but just a lot of confusion in the interim. Hopefully it's going to be short term, and then things will cool off, and we'll continue to rally, go forward with the miners, Bitcoin, markets as well. But the miners, like I said, miners had a pretty good day here. Bitfarms was up just a little bit, 0.93% on the day. It was up higher. A lot of these guys were up actually higher in the day, and then it came back down as Bitcoin was continuing to go down, but they still stay in the green here. Bitdeer was up just a little bit here as well, 0.42%. Cypher was up nicely, 5.7. I think at one point it was up almost like 9% or something like that, 10%. Cleanspark, same thing, was up 8-9% at one point, and then came down to finish out at 4.57% on the day. Nice to see that it closed above the 100 simple day moving average there. CORZ was up also quite nicely, up 6% here. That one still has a little ways to go to the 100 simple day moving average. Hive was up just a little bit, 0.54%. Hut 8 was up nicely, 11.74%. I think that was based on the news. It was up higher, it was like 15-16% up at one point, I think, almost 18. And then it came down, but that was in news with American BTC, which they own about 80% of it. It's going to be merging with Griffin there. IREN was up nicely as well, 6.68%. It was up higher also throughout the day here. Mara was up just a little bit here, 1.21%, but it did close for a second day above the 100 simple day moving average, so that's good there. Riot was up just a little bit, 2.59%. And then Wolf was up really nice, up 15.61% here with really no news on it that I can tell. I didn't see any news release from them. The only thing we have is TeraWolf has maintained a buy rating by Rosenblatt. Okay, so that's it. That's maybe what kind of triggered it there, maybe, possibly. I don't know. MicroStrategy was down, right? That kind of followed Bitcoin here a little bit, 2.68% down. It needed a little bit of pullback here. It got a little frothy again. It's getting to 430, but I think it can still go up higher, given that they just bought more Bitcoin. We'll talk about that here in a second. Galaxy was up 6.37%. Who else do we have here? Similar was up just a little bit. Small miners were up for the most part, with Mawson being up 18%, Canon being up 10%. Digi Power was down 2%. DMG was up just a little bit, 1%. Argo was down 2%, and Annie was up 5% here. Not sure why some of these guys are, especially like Mawson, are they looking that maybe some of these guys will merge with somebody else or get basically taken out of the market for whatever reason, get bought out, whatever, merged. Maybe that's the case here, obviously, from what we saw here with Griffin. And Griffin had a huge day. We'll talk about it as well here in a second when we talk about the merger happening there. But, oh my gosh, the thing went up to $2.93. I think it was up almost like 350, 400% at one point. But I was watching it during the day play out a little bit here. But that news was definitely a bombshell there for American BTC. It's a quick way for them to get, becoming a listed company on the NASDAQ there. And hopefully you guys that were in Griffin, you guys took some profits, closer to $2.93. I don't know where it's going to be valued. We'll talk about that in a second here as well. But that's kind of what I'm seeing here, at least right now. So even finishing out the day at 173% up, that's huge. I mean, from the bottom here, when it bottomed out, if you got in at the lowest price possible, like right around 12 cents here recently, if it's around there 14 cents, 13 cents, if you got in around that time frame, which was basically in like the end of April here, middle to end of April, and you held on to it and you sold closer to like $2.82, you're up 2,000%. Congrats to anyone that was able to do that. Even if you sold in anywhere between that, you still did pretty good. Even if you sold at the close of today, you were up almost 1,000% from that point. So congrats to anyone that had Griffin. And there's probably a couple of you guys that did have it. So nicely done there. I did not see this happening. And that's one of the weird things is with the smaller miners, you may want to have like just a small change in them maybe, because any type of like good news like this where they get bought out or merge or something like that, these things just rocket tremendously here. So it's one of those lottery tickets, right? You put in a couple $100 into it and see where it flies at a certain point. And some will fly, some will not. So be careful doing that. Okay, so that's all we got there. Bitcoin right now is, let's see here. Bitcoin is up 24% on Q2. It's up still 8.85% in May here. We're obviously having a little correction here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin ETF inflows continue to be possibly positive. We'll have to wait to see what BlackRock came in at, whether they continued their positive inflow streak here that they've had for probably like 3 weeks or 4 weeks now going on that, something like that. We'll get that data tomorrow. And then we obviously have Michael Saylor here continuing to buy in. All right, so Strategy has acquired another 13,390 Bitcoin for $1.34 billion at 99,856 per Bitcoin, and they have achieved a BTC yield of 15.5 year to date as of 5/11. They hodl now 568,840 BTC acquired for $39.41 billion at an average price of 69,287 per Bitcoin. So that's looking great, and it looks like Strategy and Saylor is not going to make it easy for these other companies that want to become a Sailor copycat or a strategy copycat, they're going to have a hard time catching up to strategy. With that many Bitcoin right now, it's going to be almost an impossible task for anybody to catch up to MicroStrategy or strategy now as it is. So they are freaking relentless, which is awesome to see. And it just means that there's less Bitcoin on exchanges, on OTCs and things like that. We are definitely going to be having a crunch on Bitcoin, which is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be really, really, really good for us. We're going forward. All right, let's take a look at the next story that we have here, which is going to be obviously on Hut 8's subsidiary American BTC merging with Gryphon. We'll take a look at the release that American BTC has announced. And like I said, Hut 8 has not provided their monthly operational update for April yet. I was checking out American BTC to see if they maybe provided it. They don't have a press release on it either, so it's kind of like hopefully they announce it relatively soon. I mean, it can't take them that long to figure out what they mined. If it takes them that long to figure out what they mined in April, they got issues. They should know within like the first 24 hours what they mined for the month of April. It shouldn't be this difficult. It should be a boilerplate template that they use. Type in the numbers, punch in the numbers, the values, the percentage growths. It should be pretty easy. It should be, cookie cutter, in and out, and you're done. This shouldn't take this long. Same thing with Core. I'm not sure what's going on with Core. Core has usually been pretty good at reporting their production updates. I'm hoping that they don't stop providing them. Same thing with Hut 8 or American BTC now. I hope somebody, at least American BTC, takes the mantle or takes the torch there and starts doing it. But we'll see. Right now, I don't have any data for those guys. So when we get into the public miners and their performance in April, those two are kind of excluded on there. They got much higher scores than anybody else, which is good. All right. Nevertheless, I'm rambling on here about other things, but this is awesome news. This is a quick way for them to possibly get listed on the stock exchange and get access to capital. But I think it's still going to take them a little while to do that, to get like an ATM or anything like that. I think it's going to take, I think there's like a 1 year time frame for that to happen, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen that with some other miners as well. When they did this type of stuff, it takes them about a year before they can really pull on the equity markets and use the ATMs and things like that. But nonetheless, here. So today announced that it has entered into a definitive merger agreement with Griffin Digital Mining, NASDAQ symbol GRYP. And we've covered Griffin in the past. I would say probably more so last year. Their previous CEO was more, what's the word I'm looking for? More engaged on X and Twitter in the spaces that I held, along with a Bitcoin mining stock guy there and others as well. They would join the spaces. The CEO there would join the spaces. They would talk about the company, what they're doing, and how they're going to be growing, right? How their plans are to grow to like 15 or 30 exahash, whatever it was. I can't remember exactly. And how they would do that with maybe merging with smaller players. And, well, they merged with actually a bigger player this time around. So it's kind of awesome that happened, but it kind of happened in an opposite way. So they got merged with somebody else that kind of took them over instead of them growing on by themselves here. Okay. Pursuant to which Griffin will acquire, so this is kind of weird, right? Griffin will acquire American Bitcoin in stock for stock merger transaction. This is like a reverse, they call it reverse merger or something like that. It is what it is. Upon closing, the combined company will operate under the American Bitcoin brand, led by the management and board of directors of American Bitcoin. The combined company is expected to trade on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol ABTC. Part of the deal here, I think they spell it out here a little bit. Let's see here. I believe American BTC will retain like 98% of the shares there. Yeah, it says it over here. Key terms here: form of consideration, 100% stock for stock transaction. Anticipated closing timeline, targeting closing as early as Q3 2025. Right, they got to get through all the regulatory processes, the approval of shareholders, all that stuff's got to happen there. Post-transaction ownership, existing stockholders of American BTC are expected to own approximately 98% of the combined company. So basically, they're giving 2% to Gryphon there, based on that. So I wonder what the valuation here would be. I know that Gryphon was valued at like $10 million or something like that. So that seems kind of low if you are only at 2% of that. What would that be at 100%? I would have to run the math on it. If you guys can run the math on it really quick, let me know what that valuation would be at right around $12 million valuation for Gryphon, at least on Friday, I think it was. And then governance and management, combined company expected to be led by the American Bitcoin Board of Directors, including Mike Ho, Asher Ganut, Justin Martin, and Michael Broken, and management team including Michael Ho, Pat Pruzak, and Eric Trump, right? And then we have the presentation here as well. The presentation is right there. There's not much as far as details are concerned, so no valuation on it right now. We know that they have about plans to get to 15 exahash here relatively quickly, and then they have plans to grow beyond that, but still really no valuation on what the valuation is, right? You can see everything here: strategic rationale, governance, key conditions to close, right? Obviously, satisfaction of customary closing conditions, including stockholder and regulatory approvals. And then Griffin has to have continued NASDAQ listing on the NASDAQ. Target closing is early as Q3. Maybe they'll get it in Q2, but that'd be kind of pushing it, I think. I think earliest would be probably Q3. So we're looking somewhere between July and September at that point. Let's see here. This is Eric Trump, co-founder of American Bitcoin, right? The Trump team is in full force. And what else we got here? Mission core objective, mine Bitcoin efficiently. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they do better than what Hut 8 has done here in the past. Well, I would say before them getting newer machines, but I would say in the last 12 to 24 months, I hope they do a better job than they have. Producing Bitcoin below market cost. Okay, hopefully they can do that. Bitcoin, build Bitcoin reserve, maximize Bitcoin accumulation via operations and capital markets. All right, again, you're going to have to definitely dilute a lot to do that. We'll see how they do. Lead Bitcoin ecosystem, becoming the trusted platform unifying the American Bitcoin ecosystem. Okay, that's just, being proactive and having a voice there, hopefully on Capitol Hill. Obviously, Eric Trump having his father's ear a little bit. That should maybe help them out a little bit. We'll see. Vision, desired future, achieve mining leadership, drive category dominance, leveraging Hut 8's energy advantage, rapid execution, and proven team. Okay, we'll have to wait and see how they do. Hopefully they will provide, if they are going to provide, hopefully they will provide monthly updates at a much more timely manner. Meaning, within the first 3, 4, 5 days, you should be able to get that stuff out. Shouldn't take 2 weeks to get the stuff out. Provide enhanced BTC exposure, offer public markets exposure to strategic long-term Bitcoin holdings. So same as some of the other miners. Fuel brand and reach, utilize unique American Bitcoin identity and co-founder network for significant market visibility and liquidity. So they're going to use, obviously, contacts, people they know. That always helps a lot. How do I put this? The people you know can move things for you, get things done. So that might be really good for them here because they do know a lot of people and they have a lot of people in high places as well. That could be good. Build value, ensure pure play Bitcoin focus with clear pathway to public listing and liquidity. So that's definitely going to be the case here. I don't think they're going to be looking to get into Hut 8's space of getting into HPCI data centers and things like that. That's going to be more on Hut 8 there. Hut 8 is just pushing this off, branching this out a little bit. The model is capital light mining strategy maintained as an asset light approach using high efficiency ASICs. Okay, don't like the sound of that. I don't like light approach, meaning that they will not own any other infrastructure. I'm guessing it's all going to be owned by Hut 8, and they're going to be hosting with Hut 8 at that point, is my understanding, my guess on this. And Hut 8's got to make a buck on it as well. They got to make a buck. That's not going to lead them to be possibly the lowest cost miner out there. We've seen this with, obviously, Mara. Mara changed their mind on it. Mara was for a long time a asset light approach where they didn't own any infrastructure. They had everything hosted for them. And eventually they realized if you want to have control of your own destiny, you got to have your own infrastructure. You got to own some things. And they did a great job last year doing that, buying up a lot of sites that they were hosting machines at, and definitely turn things around. They still have quite a few sites that they host at, but maybe they can buy those out later on. Okay, strategic infra partnerships, leverage Hut 8 partnership for infrastructure, operations, and power. See, there you go. They're going to be hosting a lot of stuff. Lean operational approach, prioritize resource allocation to core growth by maintaining lean SG&A and tightly controlled corporate overhead. We shall see. Everybody says that, but then again, that SG&A line seems to grow continually. If they really want to be the best in this space, keep that way down compared to others. As a percentage of your revenue, if you can keep that under 10%, that's really good. And then, like I said, the asset light approach, I'm not a big fan of that, but we'll see how they go about that. And maybe Hut 8 will give them preferential treatment. Maybe. We'll see. So why now? Why us? Seizing the American Bitcoin opportunity. Market fragmentation combined with ABTC's expected advantages enables a path to establish market leadership. Okay, well, we'll see. So why now? The market gap. Bitcoin lacks clear U.S. leadership and ecosystem cohesion, creating an opportunity to unify and lead. I would disagree with that. We do have the Texas Bitcoin Mining Council. We have other consortiums as well for these guys, and a lot of these guys have been pretty open and public and voicing their thoughts and concerns as well whenever time arises. So I don't know if that's really the case, but okay. Why us? The ABTC advantage. ABTC will leverage its unique operational power and a trusted brand reach to cut through the market's complexity and deliver simplified, reliable Bitcoin access for Americans. How will they? Okay, not sure on that one. Leadership vacuum. Bitcoin's 1 trillion plus ecosystem lacks a focused, trusted American leader to provide guidance through its complex landscape. Existing players often struggle with inefficiency or diluted strategy, creating a clear opening for ABTC. Again, I would disagree with them there. Core Bitcoin services remain disjointed and complex for many self-custody risks, mining barriers, etc. Everyday Americans are seeking trusted, lower-cost Bitcoin ecosystems access and driving demand for a unified platform. It's kind of unified as it is right now. You got Coinbase, you got other players as well where you can custody with. You can also have your coins and exchanges there. I don't recommend it, but you can do that. You can trade Bitcoin there. And most Americans are not going to care if their coins are with a Bitcoin miner or with, I don't even think they could possibly do that, but it doesn't make any sense there. That's just gibberish to me, I think. And then HUD 8 operational engine, harnessing HUD 8's proven acumen in rapid site deployment. I would agree there. They have done a great job of deploying sites, powered by a low-cost U.S. energy pipeline for significant scale and speed to market. Again, I'm not sure about the cost that HUD 8 has there, but I'm sure they're going to charge it up a little bit. They got to make money on it as well. Strategic reach, brand and audience, leveraging the powerful American Bitcoin brand, network, and team, including Eric Trump, Asher Gnut, Matt Prusek, Mike Ho, for significant built-in audience reach, media attention, and platform. I would give them 100% on that. Absolutely. All right. Their plan is the layered strategy for value creation. Layer 3, lead ecosystem, amplify value via brand, audience, and treasury. Layer 2, scale reserves, leverage expanded capital availability to scale reserves. Layer 1, build engine, build efficient scale, and produce BTC below market cost. Okay, we'll see if they do that, right? But the rest, you guys can read the rest. There's a lot of information in here. I'm not going to get into it all. We could spend, a good probably hour on this. Well, maybe not an hour, but 15, 20 minutes or something like that, just going through it. But I'll let you guys through this. The one thing I would have liked to have seen is what was the valuation at for the merge, right? That would have been nice to see where they're being valued at right now, or at least where they're valuing themselves. Obviously, like I said, Gryphon was pretty low valued at only 12 million or something like that. So whatever that number is, if you guys run it or not, what that would be today. So yeah, that's it. And then one last final thing. We had a request yesterday from a viewer to take a look at Pi, which is an altcoin, I guess, to see if what my thoughts were on it. It's got about $2 billion market cap, or sorry, 7.2 billion market cap. Volume is about 2 billion. Right now, max supply is going to be 100 billion, it looks like. And then what are they doing actually? Well, about them there, it looks like they are, Pi Network is a social cryptocurrency developer platform and ecosystem designed for widespread accessibility and real-world utility. It enables users to mine and transact Pi using a mobile-friendly interface while supporting applications built with its blockchain ecosystem. We've heard this before from others, right? It's just how much adoption can they get? I don't know. So like I said, I stay away from altcoins completely, except for the ones that I've held on to since prior cycles, and I'll be getting rid of those this cycle. Whether they reach where I bought them at or not, I am getting rid of that stuff and just probably holding on to Bitcoin and Ethereum at the very least. That's at least my goal there. All right, so yeah, I don't know too much about this one. I would have to definitely dive much more deeper into it to see where it's going. But it has, if we look at the price of it going back a year, let's take a look at all. Yeah, basically started out last year. It did go to about $3, and it's been, I wouldn't put too much into it. I lost money on other projects similar to this, so just buyer be warned. All right. Lastly, let's take a look at the miners here for April. See how did they do on operations. We look at 8 metrics and 6 metrics at this point. The 8 metrics include month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, BTC per exahash efficiency, BTC mined, days mined, current hash rate, and HODL. The last two, current hash rate and HODL, are taken out for the 6 metrics, and we just look at more or less operations. Two things to note, HUT 8 is not included in this. Well, they are in the charts, but they don't have a score. Basically, their score is 11 points, the worst you can get, along with core, because they haven't provided their operational updates yet for April. So, I give them plenty of time. It's the 12th of May already. There's absolutely no reason why they couldn't have provided that information. So they're going to be ending up on the last, score-wise, the last two. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is month-over-month percentage hash rate growth. Here, higher is better. Hive had a nice percentage increase, 9.88%, which kind of leads me into the interview with Hive, the CEO of AREN, Kylek. So let's talk about that right now. We'll get into this in a second here. Let's finish that off before I forget, because otherwise I will forget about it. So let's go here. This is what I want to do. All right. So last week I did a video on Hive and their operational update for April, right? They mentioned that they put in the miners for the old miners, they call them the Hive miners. And my numbers were right on that. Aiden did send me an email saying he watched the video, and that if I wanted to have do an interview with them, he's open to that. And that's why I posed the question to you guys if you think I should do the interview. And right now we have 52 votes with 65% saying yes, 35% saying no. So I brought this up to you guys. Typically, I don't do interviews, as you know. Mainly is because I work full-time, and then I do this in my spare time, so I really don't have the time. But if for some reason we can figure out a time that works for me and for Aiden as well, I'm open to doing it, right? And then the next question would be, would you guys want this to be a live stream with him on doing the interview, or I'm guessing probably would prefer it to be live rather than being recorded and then played later on. So I'm going to see if we can maybe do that where it's a live, where you guys can also ask questions as long as the questions are respectful. And if the timing obviously works, that's going to be the hard part. I guess he just wanted to talk about maybe the HODL position, what's going on with that, because obviously I reached out to them and kind of bashed them a little bit about not providing it as well. So there's definitely questions that I have for them. I'm sure you guys have questions for them also, if that's the case. If you do have questions for them and you follow me on X, at me and then put in the question, I'll try to get the questions that way. And then if we do a live stream of it, we'll obviously get your guys' questions in real time. I got plenty of questions for them myself, as far as operations are concerned, costs, getting to scale and things like that. What do they think the scale is? And everything else. But yeah, right now, we got 67% of you guys saying that I should do the interview. So that's kind of why I posed the question, is because he did reach out to me, which was nice of him. And then we'll see what we can make it work out. Okay. So that's just what I wanted to share with you guys. We'll see if we can make it work. If we do, great. If not, maybe we can do something via emails or something like that. So I do appreciate Aiden for reaching out. And I've had other CEOs reach out as well. It's just, timing is always bad for me because I can only do these things in the late afternoon. Sorry, that's not where I want to go. I want to go here. I can do these things in the afternoon or on the weekends. And then obviously, they're spending time with their families and things like that. And they're also busy as well. So getting the times to work out has never been really a good thing. But we'll see. All right, continuing on here. Sorry. So I went off on a tangent on Hive. So Hive here. So Hive obviously had the best hash rate improvement here, 9.8%. Month over month, IREN came in second with 8.10%. BitDeer with 7.84%, and then Mara with 5.5%, and then HUT 8, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Riot, Cypher, and Core. We don't know about HUT 8 or Core, but the other ones were all flat for the month, so they got graded on that one. They all had the same score for that. And then current hash rate, we obviously know Mara is the biggest here at 57 exahash, followed by Cleanspark at 42, IREN at 40, Riot at 33, and Bitfarms at 18. Those are obviously our top 5 biggest here. Core has fallen down. It would have been probably ahead of Bitfarms had it not been removing some of the older machines there. Cypher at 13, BitDeer also at 12. BitDeer should be growing quite a lot this year. HUT 8 at 9, and Hive at 6, at least last reported. Looking at the BTC per exahash efficiency, higher is better here. Cleanspark came in number 1. They had a really great, efficient month of operations. Just slightly above Hive here. Cleanspark came in at 14.93, Hive at 14.89, then we got IREN at 14.47, Bitfarms at 14.29, Riot at 13.7. Those are the top 5 there. BitDeer, Cypher, and Mara followed that. And then month-over-month BTC mine percentage increase. Bitdeer increased their percentage the best. They were up 45%, along with IREN at 8.63%. Bitfarms was only down 4.29 from the prior month. Hive was down 5.5. Cleanspark was down 10%. Riot was down 13. Mara was down 14. Cypher was down 17. Hut 8 and Core, we don't know on those two. BTC mine, again, Mara being the largest there with hash rate, they should have mined the most, and they did. They are at 705 Bitcoin right now for the month of April, followed by Cleanspark, pretty close to them at 633. IREN at 579, pretty close to Cleanspark as well. And then Riot was at 463, Bitfarms at 268. So those are the top 5 miners there for the month of April for mining. Days mined here, IREN came in at actually number 1, 29.25. Hive at 28.28, Cleanspark at 27.6 days, Riot at 25, Bitfarms at 25 as well. Those two are actually the same here, surprisingly. So those are the top 5 there, along with Bitdeer 25. Then we got Cypher at 23 and Mara at 22 days. HODL-wise, well, again, we know Mara has the largest HODL, 48,000, followed by Riot at 19,000, Cleanspark at 12,000, Hut 8 at 10,000. But we don't know if they grew for April, right? So I'm using the numbers from April. And then Bitdeer was at 1.2, Core at 1.2, almost as well. Bitfarms at 1,000, Cypher at 855. Hive, we don't know. Hive did not provide us with the number. I'm using 0 because they didn't provide anything. As it was. And then Bitcoin percentage sold. How much did they actually sell of their percentage of their Bitcoin mined in April? Mara didn't sell anything. Bitdeer just sold 45%. Cleanspark sold 63%. IREN obviously sells 100% all the time. Riot actually sold all of their Bitcoin mined and then some. 102% along with Bitfarms. Bitfarms sold 150%. Cypher 202%. So they basically sold 2 months worth of Bitcoin mining there. But they had Hive, like I said, we don't know what they have. So if they had zero at the end of the month, they probably would have sold 2,257%, which was pretty much their whole HODL stack, which we don't know. Lack of information obviously doesn't bode well. So here's the total metrics scores. Lower is better for all the 8 metrics and the 6 metrics combined here. And here are the way things are stacking up. What do you think? How do you think things came out? Which miner do you think? Right? So, and let's do the reveal here. Here it is. For the 8 metrics, Cleanspark came in number 1 with 24 points, IREN with 25 points, Mara with 31, Riot with 35, and Bitdeer with 36. Those are the top 5 for all 8 metrics. Then you got everybody else below after that. Obviously, like I said, Hut 8 and Core got 11 points for everything combined, so that's 88 points there. And then for the 6 metrics, we got IREN coming in at number 1, which obviously doesn't include HODL or current hash rate. Cleanspark came in second place with 19. Bitdeer along with Hive at 25. Then we got Bitfarms and Mara at 29, Bitfarms at 28. Mara and Riot at 29. So those are kind of the top 5 miners more or less there. Cypher at 40 points, and then Hut 8 and Core at 66 points. And here's how they all stacked when it comes to the individual metric scores. Cleanspark, really, really good here, below the average of, I would say, 6.5 or something like that. That's looking really good across the board here. Really low numbers, that's kind of what we want. IREN also, the only one that they didn't score well on was BTC HODL, right? So they don't HODL anything. Mara, really good on BTC mined, current hash rate, BTC HODLed, BTC sold. Things they didn't do so well on was BTC per hash efficiency and days mined. Then we got Riot here. Riot's still below average, I would say, which is a good thing. Right, we don't want to be higher, we want to be lower. But the BTC month-over-month BTC mine percentage, they didn't do so well on that. Everything else is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Bitdeer, great month-over-month BTC mined percentage-wise, but then they're high on BTC mined and current hash rate, which, score-wise at least, we need them to do better on those. Bitfarms, average across the board here, pretty much. Hive did pretty good on month-over-month percentage growth, BTC per exahash efficiency, days mined as well. Not so great on BTC mined, the number of BTC mined, current HODL, BTC HODLed, and BTC sold there on that, but that's based on them not reporting HODL, so we'll have to wait and see. Cypher, a little bit above average, or average more or less on the scores here on the higher end, so that's not good there. And then, like I said, Hut 8 and Core did not report. If we look at the average scores over the last 12 months for these guys that I've been tracking them, we get a little bit different scores, I think, but they're pretty close to what we're seeing here, at least month over month, more or less. We still have the following results here. So for the 8 metrics for the miners here, over the last 12 months, Cleanspark still takes the cake. It's only gotten 25 points on average. So that's number 1 spot. Mara, number with 30 points on average. So that's number 2 spot, followed by Riot, number 3 spot, IREN, number 4 spot, Bitfarms, number 5 spot. Then you got Hive, CORZ, Cypher, BitDeer, and Hut 8. Hut 8 has not performed well in the last 12 months, like I've been saying, even 24 months. And then on the 6 metrics, not including HODL and hash rate, over the last 12 months average, Cleanspark averages about 19 points, which is the best, followed by Mara and IREN, both getting 28 on average. And then you got Bitfarms at 31 points, so that's number 3 spot. And then I would say Hive and Riot, number 4 spot, with followed by BitDeer at 38 points on that. So always like to look at that to see how the miners are doing month over month and over a longer period of time frame. How are they performing at that? And maybe we could do something with the data that we have on the longer time frame to see where each miner scored more or less over the last 12 months or 18 months, whatever data I have on it. There's always a possibility there. So yeah, that is it for this. As always, the spreadsheet will be available to Patreon members. If you're a Patreon member, you also have access to our private Discord server there. Link for that is down in the description if you want to join and get access to all the spreadsheets here and all the data and charts and everything. All the data you could ever want. What else was I going to say? Oh, we do have some miners reporting their quarterly results. We got Bitfarms on May 14th, along with IREN, and BitDeer on the 15th, and I think that would be all of them that would have reported here. So we're about 2 days away from Bitfarms and IREN reporting there, and we'll see where things go. All right, let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have. Any questions or anything like that? And we'll call it a day. All right, we're going on close to an hour. No, not even yet. 45 minutes, or we're going on 40 minutes. Where do I want to go? I want to go to Q&A. All right, here we go. So Bitcoin's down about 0.86% right now, 101,911. All right, still correcting a little bit here. As always, questions, preface those with a question mark or a Q. That would be great, and I will work my way down, as always, from there. So let me see, what do we got here? Not too many questions here. Okay, sorry, gotta find a question. Question here, sorry. Having to yawn. Getting late. I was working out in the yard after work today and getting a little tired here. What do we got? Let's see, covered that one already. All right. B82 asks a question, how many old miners are turned off but can quickly be turned on as BTC price increases? Well, that'll depend on, let me see if I have that data. Let's take a look at it. Hold on. Let me see if I can open that sheet up that I have for it, and we'll take a look. Open recent mining calculator. Would that be there? I think that might be it. Let me see here. Miners variable profitability. Okay, let's take a look at this. So let's see here. Which miners are currently profitable? Which ones are not? And where do I want to go? I want to go here. All right, so here we go. This is if you have like 4.5 cents power cost, right? Network hash rate right now is about 850. I would say it's more probably, where is that at probably? Let me see here. Let's take a look at the latest data that we have on the network hash rate here. What is that right now? This is on the 7-day. I want to look at the 30-day average. This is the one that I go by, and it is at 873 exahash. Okay, 873. So we're pretty close to that. Let's just make it 875. Bitcoin price right now is at 100,000 roughly. So you can see that still some of the older miners are still profitable based on 4.5 cents. And if you get miners around 3,300 watts, right? Bitcoin at 100,000, you're profitable. If we make that lower, I think, let's see, what would it take for them not to be profitable? Well, let's go to 90,000 on this one. Oh, sorry. Will that change it? That didn't change the other one. Oh, let's do this. That'll change. Okay. So that's 100,000 here at 90,000. Or sorry, that's 100 terahash. Getting myself mixed up. 100 terahash to 250 terahash per machine, right? So this is just an average more or less of where things could possibly be. At 90,000, they're still profitable at this current rate. And when we get down to 75,000, these 100 terahash machines do not become profitable at that point. Okay, so that works out that way. So we're at 100,000 right now. What would the network hash rate have to go to be not profitable for some of these guys? If we go up to, looks like, well, quite a bit. We'd have to get to 1.1, 1.5 zettahash, 1.15 zettahash. At that point, some of these 100 terahash miners might not be profitable at that point. depending on your power cost, right? So if you have a higher power cost, that can definitely have a huge impact on you, because if we increase that to, let's just say 5.5 cents, well, things definitely look different at that point. Currently, you got some miners that are still just squeaking by, profitable at 79 cents here at Bitcoin. If we decrease the price or increase the network hash rate to about 975 exahash, things start to change that way on it. So as long as Bitcoin stays in these ranges, a lot of the miners can still be profitable. It just all depends on the power cost. If your power cost is above that at 6.5 cents, which is with hosting, you're now not profitable on the 100 terahash miners. You're slightly profitable on the 110 terahash miners, right? And so big thing is electricity cost. As long as that's low, you should be good. But if you're hosting with somebody, you're probably paying a little bit higher price at that point, and that is going to hurt. And depending on also the miner you're using, what is the watts, what's the joules per terahash efficiency. We're just using, pretty simple numbers here, 330 watts across the board, which that's not the case. You're probably going to see some better numbers or some higher watts on some of these higher terahash numbers and some lower watts on some of these lower guys. Okay, but that's basically it there. Hopefully that explains it. Should, I think. All right. Talked about that. What else? BD2 says shorts recovering in the miners, possibly, right? That was also another possibility with Bitcoin being down and the miners being up today. That could definitely be it. All right. Yellow Gambler has a question here. Seb, do you see BTC rallying if CPI print comes in at 2% tomorrow? I am predicting 2% based on true inflation data with 45-day offset. I would think so. I would think that would be pretty good, right? Inflation coming down. As long as inflation is not going up, I think that's going to be the concern there. If inflation is going up, that means the Fed's not going to lower interest rates, so that would be a concern. But if inflation is coming down, that would be a good thing, because then maybe the Fed can lower interest rates, spur things up a little bit. But we'll see. All right. What is your estimate for BTC mined exahash this month? I'm thinking 14.4. For who? 14.4. What is your estimate of BTC mined per exahash? Oh, this month? Yeah, I mean, it'll be somewhere around there, I would think. 14.4, 14.2, something like that. Somewhere around there. B82 again here. Any CPI print that increases likelihood of Fed cutting rates will rally. That's kind of what I'm thinking also, yeah. All right. Let's see. Scorch Earth says, IBIT bought 682 BTC. So, okay, so that's a positive. So, yeah, it's a continuation on. So we should have, I think that still would be, let me see it. Would that be a positive inflow? If they bought 60 or 70 million worth, yeah, that would still be a positive for Bitcoin ETF inflows, based on the other ones selling a little bit. All right. Neil's got a question here. Hey, Seb, do you, Seb, so your poll, 2/3 says do the interview, will you? It's a slippery slope, and we'll open the door for all other CEOs to come to your show. I am happy with that. Yeah, it is, right? So we'll see. We'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can get the dates and times to line up. Will the stars line up for us? We'll see. If they don't, they don't, and we'll call it a day. All right, let's see. B82 has a question. Will American Bitcoin be the long-awaited consolidation of miners? So you're saying that they're going to be buying up miners, other miners, maybe smaller miners? Possibility. We'll see how aggressive they are. And are they doing the right things? It all depends on how much you're paying for something. Some of the smaller miners are smaller miners because for reasons. They may not have the best equipment there, smaller sites. What are you really getting there? So I don't know. We'll have to wait. Time will tell. I always say time will tell. We'll have to wait and see on that one because I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. Okay. Kyle, thank you so much. So 2% of 600 million is 12 million. Okay. So they're being valued about 600 million there on that. All right. That's interesting. That would put them, well, I'll have to run the numbers on it, what that would give them for exahash per market cap or something like that. See what that would come out to be, and where would that put them with the other miners as well. But that's okay. So thank you for that. I forgot. I'm going to write this down. 600 million. Okay. Valuation, rough valuation for ABTC equals 600 million. Evaluation. Roughly, okay. All right, I'll run some numbers on that as far as what they currently have last reported for March. We don't have April data, but at least we have March. We know what their hash rate was at that point. All right. Hi there, guys. If 2% of ABTC is going to Gryphon holders, it's essentially a 2% float. Okay. Sour says, hot sucks. Their operations have been horrendous in the past 2 years. I will agree with you there. They're making some good things right now, at least. We'll see how they do. Let's see, Hut bought 130 million worth of land last quarter. They cooking something. They might be. We know that they're building out a data center possibly in Louisiana, right? So, and they have 3 HPCI sites. I personally think they need to lease the lands, own the substations, and sell the electricity to the hyperscalers. Now, that's another way to do it. But then it's not as profitable as having the data centers and leasing out data center space. So, I think there's some hyperscalers that are probably wanting to do something like that. Maybe not sell electricity, but just lease this land sites with the power. All right. Super Dan asks 6 question. Galaxy are finally joining the NASDAQ. Can you give them a review? This is big. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, they do lending services. They do, well, they were Bitcoin mining as well a little bit. They were also hosting Argos, but they kicked Argo out. And now they're transitioning over into HPCI data center for that Helios facility there. They don't provide monthly operation updates, so it's kind of hard to follow them, but do a little research on them. Look at their latest press releases, things like that. You'll get a lot of details as far as what's going on there. And joining NASDAQ is huge for them. Mike Novogratz is the CEO there. He's a great guy. He's made some bad calls. I think Luna was one of his bad calls that he kind of regrets. He had a tattoo of it also, right? He kind of learned his lesson from that one, I think. But we all make mistakes, right? And he's got plenty of cash to make those kind of mistakes and still be really, really good here. Let's see. What else we got here? All right. What do you think IREN's earnings coming up? I think they're going to have positive EPS. Based on what I saw here with their numbers for the last quarter here. Where's it at? Let's go back here. Let's go to IREN. IREN, here it is. Screen, and then, oh, wrong way. I want to do scroll this way, and here we go. So revenue should be up, right? Revenue should be around 144 million, something right around there. I'm pretty close usually to them by about 1% or so to what they report. I'm usually a little high though. They're usually a little bit lower than what I have here. So I'm guessing 144, 143, higher end 43. That should bode well for them. Nice increase in revenue here, and then the end of their Q2. This can be this Q3 report for them coming up here. They had a positive EPS as well. At that point, they had 9 cents, right, with 6.9 million in revenue. Sure, electricity is going to go up a little bit. They're going to probably have a little bit more depreciation as well. So if they can get, what is that going to be? That's going to be approximately, let's just say, 30 million more in revenue. Take out some extra costs for electricity, depreciation, maybe some overhead. So let's say they improve that by 20 million, right? So instead of having 6 million in net income, what if they come in at 27 million net income? What would that be for them at that point? I think we could maybe run the numbers on it. Let's just say they get 27 million net income. Let's see. I'm saying that might be on the high end. But number of shares here, I'm sure shares count is going to be higher. I know that they were pulling on the ATM. Sorry about that. There was a YouTube short playing. Forgot to turn that off. So let's see, 200. What did I say? 26 million in revenue. 26 million in revenue. 26 million in revenue divided by, let's just say, I don't know how many shares they're going to have. I'm guessing 225 million shares. Somewhere around there. It's probably going to be higher than that, but let's just go with 220. I did 250 million instead of 225. Let's go back. 225 million shares. That is going to be approximately 11.5 cents per share EPS. So I would kind of guess around there somewhere. So they should have a good quarter. They should be pumping right now. We'll see. Right, where do we go? Back here. Okay. Let's see. Guys will. Okay, guys, well, that was you. Okay. Seb kept to his word and looked, on my request. Thanks for your effort, the insight, and for taking time out of your busy schedule to make sure subscribers' request was met. You are the best. Thank you. I try to be, right? Things that I don't have any idea, and I'll let you know. Right? I don't have any idea about it. I would have to look definitely more deeper into it. But like I said in the past, I've gotten burned by these altcoins, and a lot of them promise the same things, where it's an ecosystem of this being, for the community, being all that. And then you get a pump and dump usually, and that's kind of what we saw, at least a little bit of a pump and dump on that one. It's kind of flat, it's going back up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you need adoption and you need big players in that. So like I said, be careful with any of those. All right, Andre, what if Bitcoin just made a lower high at 105 and we're going to consolidate lower for months? Miners wrecked. Well, yeah, if we consolidate or we go lower, then yeah, that would be the end of it. I don't think that's the end of it, though. I mean, look at all the stories. Look at everything else that's happening, all the adoption, all of that. That is not going to be where we end up at. This is just a little correction. We got a little spoiled here in the last couple of days. I would say maybe a week or two with Bitcoin going up nicely, but we need a little bit of correction. This is part of it, right? So no worries there. Hey, Seb, who's going to win the NBA Finals? I have no idea. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't pay attention to the NBA anymore. I was a huge fan when I was in high school and middle school and even in towards my college age. I was a huge fan. That was the time of Michael Jordan. The Bulls were legendary. Two-time three-peat, right? But after that, after Jordan kind of retired, I don't know. I just never really got back into it. I know there were great players, but at least in Chicago, we didn't have a great team. So I never got really back into it. I've gotten more so into football in the last couple of years than I have in the past. In the past, I've been just always busy with everything else. It's just now I have a little bit more time on Sundays to just relax, watch a football game or something. So I've gotten into that more so. But basketball used to be exciting. We used to have showmanship more so. Now we got a bunch of players throwing three-pointers. Now, where's the talent in? Well, there's talent in that, obviously, but where's the je ne sais quoi, I guess you could say, or however you say that, in the player's ability to, get these awesome shots like Jordan did in the past, and even Magic Johnson, and gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the guy that got killed in the helicopter crash. Kobe was fantastic to watch also. LeBron even, I would say, but LeBron's getting kind of older right now. I don't even know if he's playing anymore. Okay. Gary, he's got a question here. Kind of funny hearing about the profit of different miner models and then seeing only one miner is operationally positive indicates a lot of miners are continuing to mine even with huge losses. Yes. Yeah. It's not an easy space, that's for sure. But yeah, IREN has a great site or great sites. They have low power costs, and that definitely helps them out tremendously there. Okay. Let's see. Michael's got a question here. Unrelated, how big of a deal is coin into S&P? As is the beginning of the dam breaking for Hood MicroStrategy tomorrow. Well, there's obviously stipulations how somebody can join the S&P, right? There's a market cap. You got to have certain things like that. I think it's huge. That's going to definitely be a boost for coin. And then if the other players, like you said, Hood, MicroStrategy, maybe even Mara, I think that will come in time, but it's going to take a while for them to get up there. See, Marcus is saying no one is talking about Coinbase, S&P. Yeah, I mean, I don't really cover Coinbase here. Coinbase is a cryptocurrency exchange. I deal with Coinbase, love Coinbase, have had nothing but positive experience with them. So, yeah, I mean, I owned them when they came out of an IPO, and I lost money on it. So, lesson learned there. Okay, but that's it. All right, done with the questions here. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if maybe Hut 8 or Core report their operational update for January. If they do, great, we'll talk about it. And then I will try and reach out to the CEO of Hive and see if we can work out a schedule where it would be good for him and myself, and see if we can do maybe a live stream event. Have you guys ask questions as well, as long as they're respectful, right? with no name calling or things like that. Some of you guys can get out there and get out of hand a little bit. So as long as you guys are respectful, I'll put up the question for him as well and see if he's open to doing that even. He may not be even open to doing that. He might be just like, I can do an interview with you, but we can't, record it, or it's got to be recorded, and then we have to go back and approve it. Kind of with the other shows do that as well, where they have to get approval from, them. That's why I like live shows. It is what it is. You mess up, you screw up, well, that's on you. And then me at that point. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming in as always. Love you all. Have a great night. And we'll hopefully have Bitcoin going up and miners going up tomorrow as well. I'll see you then. Bye.